Well, hello from a very, very windy Wellington. It's windy even by Wellington standards. If you can hear it in the rattling in the background. We're going to do the 2023 Algebra Exam using quadratic equation that they give you, using the log that they give you, and the power of Dusty. That's all we're going to use. Okay. Right. Let's have a look at this one. So simplify each expression. I guess that means this one and this one. Okay. Leaving your answer with positive indices. So no sort of x to the -1. Let's write out. All right. Let's have a look at this one. So this is complicating from all ends. I want to get rid of that 2n cubed bit. And 2 times 2 times 2 is 8 n cubed, and then I want to multiply that by 4. That's this 4 here, so that's going to be 32 n cubed over n to the power of 8. So let's bring this over. So it's going to be 32 n -5. Remember, when we divide one thing by another, it's that minus that. So 3 minus 8 is -5. And that clears up that. So that's what's going to be in under that radical sign. And it's to the 5th power. So to the 5th power is just the same as 1/5 to the power of 1/5. And that's going to be really nice because it's going to be 32 to the power of 1/5 times -5 times 1/5 is -1. Okay. 5th root of 32, I think it's 2. But I'm just going to make sure. So 32 to the power of 1/5, just to see how that works. Yeah, it is 2. So it's going to be 2n -1, but they want it with positive only indices. So our final answer would be 2/n. We'd be done. Okay. That negative thing is annoying me, so I'm going to flip it. When we change that from negative to a positive, we get the reciprocal of what's in the brackets. So I'm going to say this is 16n squared over n cubed to the power of 0.5. So it's taking the square root, in other words. Now we can do our trick, top minus bottom. So it's going to be 16n to the power of 3 to the power of half. And that's going to be 16 to the power of half n 3/2. And the square root of 16 is 4. So it's going to be 4n 3/2. Yeah. Okay. This one. Now this one. How do we go about solving this one? So this is crying out to be factorized, top and bottom. Let's factorize it. So 20x squared minus 22x plus 6. They're all even numbers. Let's factor out a 2. make our life a lot easier. Okay, so it's going to be compound exponentials. So we want two numbers that multiply to give us 30 and add to give us negative 11. So it's going to be 6 and 5, isn't it? It's going to be minus 5 and minus 6. Yep. So minus 6 times minus 5 is positive 30. Minus 6 minus 5 is negative 11. So minus 6 and minus 5 are our winners. And that damn dog has started again. Okay. Cut it down the middle. The 2 always stays there. There's a 5x that they have in common. 2x minus 1 and 2x minus 1. So it's going to be minus 3 there. So it's going to be 2. 5x minus 3. 2x minus 1. Now, does that help us? Okay. It might help us. Let's park that there. Now let's factorize the denominator. 5x squared minus 3x. Yeah, it is going to help us, isn't it? But if we factor out that x, we're going to get that. So we can rewrite that as, well, actually we'll just put it there. And they're going to cancel. Right. Does that make our life any easier? Well, let's have a look. Let's expand out the brackets now. So 4x minus 2 over x, yes, this is going to simplify our life, is going to be equal to 4x over x minus 2 over x. They're going to cancel. So we have 4 minus 2 over x. And what does it say? A and B are integers. Yep. So A is 4. B is negative 2. All right, next question. The value V in dollars of a laptop can be modeled. V equals 40 plus K. Okay, K e to the power of negative 0.5 t. T is greater than or equal to 0, where t is the time in years since the laptop was purchased. The original price of the laptop was $900. How long does it take for the laptop's value to be reduced to 50% of the value? Okay, this is a couple of problems. We need to work out what K is. We do that, and if you can hear that dog still barking, and we want to find out the time when it's 450, isn't it? 450 is half of 900. We need to find A first. But we know that when time equals 0, this value is 900. Okay. Well, let's put that in there. So 900 equals 40 plus k e to the power of negative 0.5 times 0 is 0, so that's going to go to 1. So therefore k must be equal to 860. That's that done. Now we want to set that equal to 450 and then solve for t. Okay. Piece of cake, he says. So 450 going to be equal to 40 plus 860 e to the minus 0.5 t. So let's make our life as easy as possible before we go to logarithms. So let's take 40 away from both sides. That damn dog equals 860 e to the negative 0.5 t. Divide both sides by 860. Equals e to the power of negative 0.5 t. Chop off a 0. (41/86). Okay. Have we done enough? Yep. We need to take the log of both sides. So take the log of e is just what we've got in the brackets. Natural log of 41/86. And then I guess t is going to be equal to natural log of 41/86 all over negative 0.5. This is going to be a negative number. Negative number divided by a negative number is going to be a positive number. And now we get out our calculator. So natural log, and it's got to be natural log because we got rid of e, of 41/86 is that. Whoops. Is that. And we're going to divide that by negative 0.5 and we get that 1.482. So 1.482 years. So what's that about? 17 months? I think. Yeah. I'm going to try to see if I can get that dog next door to shut up. Okay, here is a kind of a tricky one. So we're told that 2y equals 2x plus 29 is a tangent to the quadratic. This is complicated because there is a k in it. There is also the y in it. And there's a 2y here. We want to get rid of that k and that y. So let's divide this whole thing by 2. So we've got y equals x plus 29/2. And put that in there where we have a y, and then we can probably solve for k. It sounds like a plan. So x squared minus 2k x plus 29/2, and that's going to go really, really nicely with that, plus 32k equals 0. All right, let's expand out the bracket. So we've got x squared minus 2k x minus 29k minus 2 k times 29 over 2. 2 is going to cancel. Plus 32k, and they're going to cancel some more. So we're left with x squared minus 2k x plus 3 equals 0. Okay. Well, we know that it crosses the y-axis at positive 3, but is that going to really help us? So where it's a tangent, the discriminant is going to equal 0, isn't it? Because it's going to touch it once where it's a tangent. Okay, so that's going to equal 0. So b squared minus 4 ac is going to equal 0. Well, b is that minus 2k squared minus 4 times, and there's a 1 there, times 3. $3k. What was I saying? 3k. Okay. And that must equal 0. So let's solve it for 4k. So that's going to be 4k squared minus 12k equals 0. Okay. This is starting to take shape. Let's factor out a k. 4k minus 12 equals 0. So either that equals 0 or that equals 0. But where does it say it at the top here? K is a non-zero constant. So k equals 0, no go. So we're left with this. 4k minus 12 equals 0. So 4k equals 12. K must equal 3. And we're away at the races, so we know that k is 3. Now we want to find where that quadratic crosses the y-axis. So our part now is going to be finding some room. Let's move that down a bit. So we know where it crosses the axis, the line there. We know where it crosses the axis, the y-axis. X must equal 0 and k equals 3. And we want to solve for y. So 0 squared, which is 0, minus 2k, which is 6y, plus 32 times 3 is 96 equals 0 from up here. So therefore y must be equal to negative 96 over negative 6, and I think it's 16, isn't it? Okay, 96 divided by 6 is 16, and the negatives cancel, so at 16. So the point where it intercepts the y-axis is at the point 0, 16, and k equals 3. Circle that. We're done. Circle that. I think we're done. I think. Yes, we're done. Oh. Alright, question 2. Find m if log base 2 m 3m plus 1 equals 4. Well, let's raise both to the power 2 to the power of both of those. So 3m plus 1 equals 2 to the power of 4, which is 16. So 3m equals 15. Take 1 away from both sides. That's a terrible 5. Divide both sides by 3. M equals 5. Okay. So solve the following equation. Let's just kind of circle this off so it's in its own space. Solve the following. Okay. So 3 log base x of 64 equals 6. Now let's divide both sides by 3. So log x of 64 equals 2. So that we could translate that as being x squared equals 64. X is going to be therefore 8. We'll just take the positive. Can we have negative? Yeah, it just has to be positive because we can't have a log of a negative number. It doesn't make any sense. So it's going to be positive 8. All right. Right. Find an expression for P in terms of X if da 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 da. Okay. Can we just log both sides and that would... But I guess then we would have log P over one side. Okay. How are we going to solve this one? I guess what we could do is we could change the base 5 for all of them. Okay, so 5 is, well, 5. And 25 is 5 squared. And 125 is 5 cubed. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Yep, that's going to work. Okay, and rewrite that. 7x plus 6 over 5 squared to the power of negative x. Okay, it's going to be equal to 5 cubed. Ooh, what happened there? 5 cubed to the power of p. Okay, and then this is going to cancel. So this is going to be 5 to the negative 2x. And then that's going to come up the top, isn't it? So we're going to be adding. Yes. So we add 2x to both sides. So it's going to be 7x plus 6 plus 2x to bring it from the bottom to the top is going to be equal to 5 to the power of 3p. Okay, now we're starting to get somewhere. So 5 to the power of 9x plus 6 equals 5 to the power of 3p. And they have the same base, so it's come up here. So 9x plus 6 must equal 3p. Divide both sides by 3. We have 3x plus 2 equals p. And there's our answer. We have x in terms of p. We didn't need to take logs in the end. Okay. Oh, but here's one we can take logs on. All right. Find the value. Well, 6 is 6. There's a b there and then there's a b there. So it's going to be 6 plus log b minus 3. Makes things a lot easier, I think. Plus log b to the half. So it's going to be 6 and minus 3 comes out the front. Now log b of b is 1. Plus half log b of b is 1. I guess you say plus that. So it's going to be equal to 6 minus 3 plus a half is going to be 2.5. 2.5. Yeah, it makes sense. All right. Right, we're back. The dog started up again, so what can you do? Not a lot. Using an algebraic method, solve 4 to the x minus 10 4 to the x equals 3. I don't like that x there. So I'm going to use the old mathematician's trick. I'm going to say let u be equal to 4 to the x. Yeah, and get rid of it that way, rather than some cross tabs thing. So u minus 10 over u equals 3. And then I'm going to multiply both sides by u. So u squared minus 10 equals 3u. And I think you can see where this is going. I'm going to take this over the other side. So u squared minus 3u minus 10 equals 0. Now it's a solvable quadratic. Two numbers that give us minus 10, multiply minus 10 and add to negative 3 would be negative 5 and positive 2. So u plus 2, u minus 5 equals 0. So either u equals negative 2 or positive 5. So is that going to help us? So let's come up here and let's let u be equal to negative 2. Is there any number that x could be that would make that negative 2? No, there isn't. So therefore negative 2 is out. Okay. Is there some number where that could be equal to 5? And the answer is yes, there is. But we're going to need to take logs. So x log of 4 equals log of 5. So x therefore is log of 5 over log of 4, and it's going to be some number. So log of 5 divided by log 4, 1.16. 1.161. So x is going to be equal to 1.161. And just to test it out, oh no, we won't test it out, that'll do. There is our answer. I'm going to get in as much as I can before the dog starts yelling and carrying on again. All right, this next one is just a quadratic in disguise. We've got to move the 6 over. So 6x, 5x squared plus 13x minus 6 equals 0. Okay, so 5 times negative 6 equals negative 30. So two numbers that multiply to give us negative 30 and add to give us positive 13 is going to be positive 15 and negative 2. So let's rewrite this. 5x squared plus 15x minus 2x. So just convince yourself that that is 13x minus 6 equals 0. Then I'm going to split it in half. What do these have in common? They have 5x in common. X plus 3. Can I get x plus 3 over this side? Yes, I can, by multiplying both of them by negative 2. So collect what's outside the brackets and keep what's inside the brackets. So either that equals 0 or that equals 0. So x equals minus 3 and 5x minus 2 equals 0. X must be 2 over 5. And we're done. Yeah, makes sense. Ooh, all right. I can see something straight away here at the bottom. And this quadratic is sort of crying out to be factorized. So let's factorize the top and the bottom. All right. Let's do the bottom first because it's a difference of two squares. It's 3x squared minus 4 squared. So it's therefore going to be 3x minus 4, 3x plus 4. It's going to be in our denominator. Now let's factorize the top, and I bet it's going to be one of those that we get out of it. So 3 times 8 is 24. So I need two numbers that multiply to give me positive 24 and add to give me negative 10. So it's going to be negative 6 and negative 4. Yeah. So 3x squared minus 6x minus 4x plus 8. Separate that. So this is 3x, x minus 2. Can we find x minus 2 here? Yep, we can by putting a negative 2 out the front, negative 4 out the front. collect what's outside the brackets, keep what's inside the brackets. Look at that. The dog starts again, right on cue. They're gone, they're gone. And we're left with x minus 2, 3x plus 4. Can we simplify that anymore? No, I don't think we can. I think that's as simple as it gets. I'm going to try to shut that dog up again across the road. Well, I don't think it's going to shut up, so I'll just keep going. Okay, so find the p-values, the values of p, where it does not cross the x-axis. So in other words, the determinant must be less than 0. Less than or equal to 0. So therefore, b squared minus 4ac must be less than or equal to 0. A is 2, B is 8, and C is P. Okay, so 8 squared minus 4 times 2 times E less than or equal to 0. So 64 minus 8 E 0. Okay. Bring the 64 over. And divide both sides by negative 8. Now when we do that, this has to flip. We're done. P must be greater than or equal to 8. Oh no. Okay. K is a constant. Work out K. Ah. Okay. Dog's still barking. Well, let's keep going. All right. This is crying out to be factorized, isn't it? So x squared plus 7x plus 10 x plus 2 x plus 5. Yeah, it's going to cancel really nicely. Okay, so it's x squared plus 2x plus k over x plus 2, x plus 5. I'm going to put that in brackets. I think you know why. Plus 2. And I'm going to multiply the whole thing by this. So they go to 1. And they cancel. So therefore x squared plus 2x plus k equals x minus 3 x plus 5. Now let's expand out the brackets. So x squared minus 3x plus 5x minus 15 is x squared plus 2x minus 15. What do you know? that is the same as that. So they cancel if we took them away. So k is going to be minus 15. It turned out nicely in the end. But here's one that won't be nice. All right. Diagram below shows cross-section of canal. Okay. The surface area of the surface of the water between A and B is 2.5 meters across. Canal is 3 meters deep, but only at that one point. Okay. The cross-section can be modeled as a quadratic curve. Why don't they just say parabola? Okay. So that's a parabola. The cross-section is 2.2, so we're going to presume it's in the middle there. The narrow boat must maintain a constant depth below the water of 1 meter in order to float. So in other words, that distance there has to be 1 meter or greater. Will the narrow boat float in this canal? Well. Okay. Let's construct a parabola where that the center of the boat there on the water line is our origin point. And that means that on this parabola are the points minus 1.25, 0, 0, minus 3, and 1.25, 0. Okay, there's the parabola there. Well, we know it's going to have the equation. You could just put it in your calculator. Ax squared plus bx plus c, but we know that c is -3. Okay. So let's do this one. So for this first one, y is 0. So a times -1.25 squared plus -1.25 b minus 3 equals 0. You'll see where I'm going with this. So -1.25 squared negative number times a negative number is a negative number. I don't think so. -1.25 1.5625. Okay. 1.5625a minus 1.25b equals 3. That's one equation. The other one is this one here. So it's going to be 1.25 squared again. So 1.5625a. Now plus 1.25b must also equal 3. And now we have simultaneous equations. So now let's just put it in the calculator because this looks like a nasty is here. Go to simultaneous equation solver. So 1.5625 minus 1.25 3 and 1.5 in there, 1.25 in there, 3 in there, and we get 1.92 and 0. Okay, so the equation there is 1.92 x squared minus 3 equals the depth equals y. Okay, and now we want to find some point which is, so if that's 2.2, that must be 1.1 from there to there. So when we put in x equals 1.1, do we have a number which is greater than or less than 3? Greater than, less than 1. So 1.92, 1.1 squared minus 3. Is that going to be a number greater than, equal to, or less than 1? So go there. Point 2 times negative 0.67, which is too shallow. So too shallow. We need it to be greater than negative 1, but it's only 68 centimeters, so it's going to be hitting the edge of the canal thingy. All right, I think this is the last question. An open box, i.e. with a base but no lid, so this lid isn't there, has been designed tightly to fit a cylindrical candle. The candle, okay, that's a candle. The surface area of the 5 surfaces of the box is equal to the total surface area of the candle. Okay. Write an expression for the height h in terms of r. All right. Well, if this is inscribed within this box, this means that this side here must be 2r, and that side there must be 2r. So the height of these 4 sides is 2hr, and there's 4 of them, and the surface area underneath that is going to be 2r 2r squared, isn't it? Not 2r squared, but 2r all squared. Okay, so that's going to be 8hr plus 4r squared. That's going to be the surface area of the box. And we're told that it has the same surface area as the cylinder, which is there. Okay, so let's set one equal to the other and solve for h in terms of r and pi. Okay, so 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh equals 8hr plus 4r squared. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring everything which has an h on this side and everything that doesn't over to this side. So 2 pi rh minus 8hr is going to be equal to 4r squared minus 2 pi r squared. And here's why I'm going to do that. I'm going to factor out the h. And I think that's going to factor out as well, but we'll do that in time. Okay, and then I'm going to divide the whole thing by that. And whatever we do to one side, we have to do the other side. Okay, and now those are going to cancel. So we're left with h equals 4r squared minus 2 pi r squared all over 2 pi r minus 8r. And that's correct, but it's not simplified as much as possible. So let's factor out, these all have 2 r's in them, don't they? 2r is 2r minus pi r, and this is 2r pi minus 4. Those 2 r's are going to cancel. Can it simplify anymore? Yeah, it can actually. So if we factor out the r, then we're left with 2 minus pi. Suspect that's going to cancel. Is that going to cancel? Because that's the difference of 2 squares, but it's going to be square root of pi, isn't it? No. So we can't simplify it anymore. That's as far as it'll go. And the dog's back. So yeah, that's that. The exam's done. So the exam was fun. The dog wasn't so much fun. And he's just chirping up again. Oh well, next stop is calculus.